Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into something intense, looking at total societal collapse, but not the usual way. We're doing it through one character's journey.
Yeah, an iconic character. And the sources we've got, they really dig into how everything just shatters. Values, relationships, who you even are when your whole world ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's pretty profound. So our mission, for you listening, is to pull out these surprising facts about life in Civil War Georgia, the reality of Reconstruction. It gets harsh.
It does. We're focusing on the really pragmatic, sometimes frankly shocking ways people survived, and in this case, how one person rebuilt a fortune from absolute scratch.
We are, of course, diving deep into the story of Scarlett O'Hara. Okay, so if we start before the war, Scarlett seems like, well, the perfect Southern belle, right, on the surface.
Right, but the sources are really clear that that whole ladyhood thing, it was incredibly fragile, almost like a costume put together by her mother, Ellen and Mammy.
Just a veneer.
Totally. Because underneath, she had this raw, kind of earthy and coarse quality from her father, Gerald. That was the real her. And it wasn't really tamed.
And it comes out in how she deals with men, doesn't it? It wasn't romantic.
Not at all. It's fascinating. She saw attracting men as just the source calls it a mathematical formula.
Formula? Wow.
Yeah, like she knew exactly what to say or do to get the reaction she wanted. It was pure efficiency, no real emotion involved, or very little.
Which kind of explains why she was so unprepared for what was coming. Calculation over feeling.
Absolutely. And that calculation meant she was just completely bored by all the talk about serious things, war, secession, Fort Sumter, Abe Lincoln.
Just background noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stuff that didn't really touch her little social world she was managing so well.
It really shows how insulated that whole society was, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Playing social games while the ground's about to give way.
Mm-hmm. And that leads right into the main conflict, really. The two men representing these different paths.
Let's talk about them. First, Ashley Wilkes.
Ah, Ashley, the ideal. The sources describe him as handsomely blonde, so courteously aloof, so maddeningly boring, always talking books and poetry.
Sounds thrilling.
Huh. Right. And crucially, the text says he had a complex nature Scarlett didn't get, and that he was afraid of anything too real. He embodies that dying world.
And then reality walks in. Rhett Butler.
Oh, yeah. The total opposite. A stranger, swarthy as a pirate, strong, animal white teeth, those bold and black eyes.
And his first look at her isn't admiration, it's assessment.
Exactly. An impertinent appraisal, the source says. He sees right through that carefully constructed veneer immediately. He is that too real thing Ashley fears.
Shadow and substance. Okay, but beyond these personal dynamics, the sources also show cracks in the society itself, even as they're gearing up for war.
That's right. This whole idea of Southern unity, it wasn't quite that simple.
You mean the troop dynamics, the class difference?
How did the rich planters equip the poorer guys? Small farmers, poor whites, they needed horses, uniforms?
But giving them outright would be insulting.
Precisely. The sources mention how fiercely proud these poorer groups were. So, wealthy guys like Gerald had to pool their money, outfit the others, but do it really carefully so it didn't smack of charity.
So even on the brink of war, these deep economic divides were a major factor they had to navigate.
A real underlying tension.
So the war starts.
Huh.
Does Scarlett suddenly become patriotic?
Not really. I mean, her main interest in the cause is basically just keeping Ashley safe. That's it.
And things like nursing.
Hated it, loathed it, actually. The sources say she only did it because she didn't know how to get out of it. It was about social pressure, not belief.
Still focused on appearances then?
Initially, yes. But then something shifts. She ends up in Atlanta, and there's this unexpected connection. She finds something raw and crude about the growing city.
And that appeals to her own underlying nature, the part hidden by the veneer.
Exactly. It resonates with that rawness and crudeness she got from Gerald, the part Ellen and Mammy tried so hard to polish away.
But the real catalyst for change, the thing that breaks her, is the devastation back home at Tara.
Oh, absolutely. The collapse isn't just societal, it's deeply personal. The structure that held up her world just dissolves.
The sources list it so starkly. Ellen's death from typhoid.
Which is devastating. And then Gerald just crumbles mentally, completely loses his grip. Shaking, trembling, doesn't even remember Ellen's gone half the time.
It's brutal. And the physical ruin on top of that.
Total ruin. Livestock gone, stable burned down, crops trampled by armies. Tara is wrecked.
So no family support, no home stability. What does that do to her?
It forces this this shell of hardness to form around her. It's pure survival instinct kicking in.
And that leads to that incredibly stark moment shooting the Yankee soldier.
A shocking act of self-preservation. But what's maybe even more surprising is what happens right after. She looks at Melanie, Ashley's wife.
Who she mostly despised or felt superior to.
Right. But in that moment, she sees something else. Real strength. The source describes it as a kind of comradeship, recognizing a thin, flashing blade of unbreakable steel under Melanie's gentleness.
Wow, so in that extreme moment, the old categories just fall away.
They do, and it leads straight to this bitter realization about her mother. Everything Ellen taught her, how to be a lady, how to manage a household in the old way, it was all wrong.
Worthless now.
Completely. Of no value whatsoever now, the text says. Her mother's entire education failed because it never imagined the possibility of their world collapsing.
Failed to prepare her for survival, only for society. A society that no longer existed.
Precisely.
Okay, so the war is over. But the struggle isn't. It just shifts, right? With money.
Immediately. And it's interesting, the sources pinpoint the first big threat, not as like direct violence, but finance. The tax crisis.
These new taxes imposed by the North, how were they such a weapon?
Well, they demanded cash. Hard currency. The Union authorities saw the South as a conquered province, and they levied these huge taxes.
And Southerners didn't have cash.
Exactly. Their wealth was land, maybe some cotton, but Confederate money was worthless. They had no liquid assets. So for Scarlett, it's simple. Find cash, fast, or the carpetbaggers take Tara. That's the driver.
Which explains the lightning-fast pivot from Belle to, well, ruthless businesswoman.
That calculating mind just finds a new target. Remember the mathematical formula for men? Now it's applied to business. First step, marry Frank Kennedy.
Purely strategic, thinking, I'll marry him, and then I'll never have to bother about money again. Like a business merger.
Totally. And she doesn't waste a second, takes over his little store, then immediately sees the real opportunity. Lumber.
Because Atlanta's rebuilding.
Right. Lumber selling at such outrageous prices. So she buys a sawmill, sees the need, fills the need, makes the profit. Classic entrepreneurship, but driven by desperation.
And she doesn't stop there. Her ambition just snowballs.
Oh, yeah. Next plan. Use low-grade lumber to build saloons. She figures they'll be good tenants, pay rent on time, and use those profits to buy some more sawmills.
She's building an empire, basically, on cheap wood and liquor.
Pretty much. And look at how she deals with the Yankees, the occupiers. This is pure pragmatism.
While the other Southern ladies, the old guard, wouldn't even speak to them.
Right. Clinging to their pride. Scarlett. She decides to butter them up with smiles and kind words, to get contracts, get business.
But secretly plans to.
To spit in all their faces later, once she's rich and doesn't need them anymore. It's pure transaction. Dignity now for security later.
Which inevitably creates conflict with those who value principle over profit.
Absolutely. And it leads, indirectly perhaps, but leads nonetheless to the tragedy with Frank Kennedy.
His death, it's linked to his involvement with, well, the Klan. Though the book doesn't use the name explicitly.
Correct. The activities are described clearly. Scaring the darkies and teaching the scalawags a lesson. We should probably clarify scalawags quickly.
Good point. That was the derogatory term ex-Confederates used for white Southerners who worked with the Reconstruction government, with the Northerners.
Exactly. So Frank gets involved in that kind of vigilante action, trying to uphold the old ways, the old hierarchy.
And he dies doing it. For a principle.
A principle Scarlett just doesn't get anymore. Or rather, she can't afford to get it. She's traded principle for survival, for cash. His death highlights that gulf between them.
Okay, so this contrast really crystallizes around Ashley and Rhett during Reconstruction, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Ashley, the idealist, is completely lost. He basically admits it. I belonged in those old times. He can't cope with the new reality.
He actively avoids it. Says he avoided everything which was not shadowy. People and situations which were too real, too vital.
And includes Scarlett in that. He fears her vitality because it represents the very reality he can't face. It's quite tragic, in a way.
Meanwhile, Rhett looks at Ashley and his type with what is it? Pity, contempt.
Both, I think. The sources say pity and contempt. Rhett's assessment is just brutal. They're not smart, he says, and only the smart deserve to survive.
Ouch, pure social Darwinism.
Pretty much. Rhett is the survivor this new world requires. Ruthless, adaptable, unsentimental.
And his money proves his point, in a way. Where did he get it all?
Pure wartime opportunism. Blockade running smuggling goods past the Union Navy, food speculation, and the big one, getting Confederate cotton out to Liverpool where prices were sky high.
And did he give the profits back to the Confederate cause?
Not a chance. His logic. There is no Confederacy now. Simple as that. He served Rhett Butler.
But he's complex. Because after Frank dies in that Klan-related incident, Rhett is the one who engineers the cover-up.
Yes. That's such a telling moment. He saves Ashley and the others from being arrested, claiming they were all drunk at Belle Watling's brothel.
Protecting the very men, or the ideals, he seems to despise. Why?
It's complicated. Maybe loyalty to certain individuals, maybe just enjoying the manipulation, or maybe protecting the social fabric in his own cynical way. It shows he's not just a simple villain.
And Melanie's reaction is key too, isn't it? She buys the lie completely.
Totally. Believes Rhett is this refined gentleman covering for her husband's indiscretion. It shows how even the good people can be blind to the compromises survival demands in this world.
Okay, so eventually Rhett proposes to Scarlett. Why then?
Well, the timing is calculated, of course. The sources suggest he waits until she and Frank have actually made enough money on their own.
So she doesn't need him financially anymore.
Exactly. She wouldn't be driven to him for loans. He proposes when she's finally on somewhat equal footing, when she has a choice. He had to win her, not buy her desperation.
And why does she accept still the money?
Money's definitely part of it. She admits that. But there's more. She says it's also because he's the only man who didn't think me a silly fool and expect me to tell lies.
He saw her true self.
He saw the ruthless core and wasn't afraid of it. Didn't demand she keep playing the Southern Belle game. She married the one person who truly understood her.
All right, moving towards the end. After their daughter, Bonnie, dies. That's another huge turning point, especially for Rhett.
A massive shift. He changes completely. Stops drinking, gets quiet, serious, throws himself into politics, working behind the scenes to get a Democratic governor elected, trying to end Reconstruction peacefully.
And Scarlett misses the old Rhett.
Ironically, yes. She finds herself missing his malicious comments, his perverse interest in her schemes. The fire's gone out of him, or it's been redirected. The man who mirrored her energy is gone.
And before the final act between them, there's Melanie's death.
Yes, after trying to have another child. She passes away with that quiet dignity and strength she always had. Her death removes Scarlett's sort of moral compass and maybe her last real connection to that old world ideal.
And it sets up Scarlett's big realization.
The epiphany. It happens when she sees Ashley just weeping, broken over Melanie's death, and suddenly she sees him clearly.
Not the romantic hero anymore.
No, just weak and helpless, and she understands finally that her love for him wasn't real love. It was a habit I hung on to from when I was a little girl.
Wow, all those years.
Just chasing a ghost. And in that same moment, the fog clears about Rhett. She knows he's the one she loves because he saw her, understood her, matched her.
But she realizes this only after she's effectively driven him away.
Way too late. That's the tragedy. She runs to him, finally ready to tell him, finally understanding herself.
And his response?
Just weariness, finality. He tells her quite calmly that his love for her is gone. It burned out waiting for her. The survivor finds love, but finds it alone. Hashtag outro.
So what have we really distilled from all this? I mean, the core lesson seems to be about what it takes to survive when everything falls apart.
It really is. That traditional identity Scarlett was raised with, it just shattered. The only way forward for her was this fierce, almost brutal pragmatism. She went for money, for security.
While others held on to ideals, principles, and were ruined or died.
Yeah, it's a stark contrast. But the sources leave us with one thing that does endure through all of it.
The land.
The land itself. Rhett's final gesture, pressing that red Georgia clay into her hand.
Saying, something you love better than me, though you may not know it. You've still got Tara.
You've still got Tara, the anchor, the one constant.
And so maybe the final thought we can leave you with is this. In that kind of extreme survival situation where it's all about clawing your way back, financially, physically, does the ruthless pragmatist like Scarlett ultimately win? Or is there something enduring about the integrity of people like Ashley or Melanie, even if it seems impractical, even fatal in the moment, which victory truly lasts?
Something to chew on. Is survival the only metric, or is there more?